Blue Beetle is a superhero movie. The first Latino superhero movie is here, and it finds itself in a weird spot. It's DC's follow-up movie to the very totally successful Flash movie. It's still being released in the middle of the writer and actor strike. Fingers crossed they reach a fair deal soon, some optimism there. And it's still a part of DC in what is currently known as the most confusing cinematic universe known to mankind. You take all that and you add in the pretty average trailer that played in front of every single movie at the theater, and what do you get? A solid movie, I guess? This is an interesting time for superhero movies, and I do believe superhero fatigue is real, and I know there's been some good ones, but critics and audiences alike seem to be less forgiving with some of the same average to awful schlock that we've been getting, especially the past few years. And Blue Beetle is an interesting example because it both feels fresh and also like a rehash of every superhero movie we've seen before. Let's start with the good here. Xolo mariduena is a great choice to play Jaime. Everything that DC wants Blue Beetle to be, I can see it in him, and he shows it very well. He just kind of emits an innocent and kind yet naive aura, similar to, I guess, like Peter Parker. But the important thing is with that character is if he says he loves his family, you have to believe he loves his family. And I believe he loves his family. Speaking of family, George Lopez. He's playing George Lopez, and honestly, it's awesome. I am glad to see him back in the superhero genre after his performance in Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which is awesome. Plus him weirdly being a part of my childhood with the George Lopez show, so, you know, shout out to him. And to that point, to me, Blue Beetle is best when it's focused on the family. And I mean a real family. No bullshit Fast and Furious family where I'm like, okay, I actually don't care if one of you guys died in this movie. I'm talking a real family. I enjoyed each character of the family, and anytime I started to get nervous where I'm like, okay, this character is actually starting to get annoying if they keep being featured prominently, they would then take a back seat and let another character shine, another scene go. And I was like, oh, crisis averted. And that is what makes Blue Beetle stand out. The Latino culture plus the mix of family, and it's honestly kind of refreshing to see that. But outside of that, it is pretty generic, and you can see it's pulling from a lot of superhero movies that came before it. I mean, just a couple that come to mind without even really thinking about it. I mean, Iron Man, Black Panther, he obviously has a whole Spider-Man tone going on. The plot is very predictable. You've definitely seen this before. You know exactly where it's going. The action scenes vary. Some is very average, some is cool, but honestly, it doesn't rise above just being cool. And the worst part about Blue Beetle is 100% the villain. Susan Sarandon, I'm so sorry. I know the script did you no favors, but also that performance, yikes. It's not even a one-note villain. It's less than a one-note villain. You've definitely seen this villain before. She spends half the movie yelling at people to fix it. Is a typical money-hungry type of villain. And even the main evil henchman, which is kind of like an extension of her evilness, is just kind of whatever. The visual effects are okay. Sometimes I think it looks solid. The other times I'm just like, what is up with that suit, bruh? So I'll admit this is a very mixed bag. And it's one of those movies that's kind of hard to rate. But when I really think about it, and maybe it's just because I still have the taste of the Flash in my mouth, that sounds a little weird. But I think I'm going to be generous because at the end of the day, when I think about it, it's entertaining enough. It has a likable lead actor and character. And it went by fast. It's not that long. All that being said, Blue Beetle, 3 stars. It's honestly just an average superhero movie, but compared to The Flash, this might as well win the Oscar. Speaking of which, I really need those movies right now. I don't know if I could do more.